Welcome to this interview about IoT, Internet of Things. Today, Andrea Tonello from the University of Klagenfurt in Austria is joining this interview. Thanks, Andrea, for accepting and joining this interview. And well, hope we have a good discussion about IoT. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot, Jorge, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
So Andrea Tonello currently is coordinating an Erasmus Plus project where several universities from Europe and Latin America, in particular Uruguay and Argentina, are participating. And this project is about Internet of Things and about what are the skills that needs to be developed for the new jobs that for sure IoT will enable. So let's start talking about what do you think is mainly IoT, Andrea, or what are the main applications you have seen or you are related to, and what's the purpose of IoT?
Yes, as you said, IoT stands for Internet of Things. So the idea here is to have a connected world where we collect data, we share data, and we process data so that we can deliver advanced services that at the end should better the quality of our life and diminish the environmental impact and, let's say, influence positively society at large. You asked me in what examples of applications, of domains of applications, and I think that IoT touches many market scenarios and verticals, as we say. So it goes together with agriculture, with energy, and in particular energy infrastructures to produce and distribute basically energy that can take advantage of IoT technology. And then the sector of transportation, of health, industry 4.0, even education. Also, I would also mention digitalization of processes. And this is very relevant for public administrations, I would say. And at the end, it goes also together with the so-called smart city paradigm.
Yeah, so it's very broad, the scope of IoT in general. So there are a lot of students at our universities that are currently maybe taking engineering programs. There are other professionals who have already graduated. So mainly they can be thinking about what will IoT give us, or how that will be power my future work. What are the benefits of starting to think of as IoT as something related to my work? So do you think that IoT can help to power the future of the work?
Yes, I'm a positive person, so my answers are typically positive in spirit. And I would say that I foresee a future that related to IoT is fully connected, augmented by information and supported by artificial intelligence, because IoT is the first building block. Now we are really, we started from home automation as a first example of Internet of Things, I would say. And now we are working on autonomous cars, which is a much more complex system, I would say. And we are focusing a lot on robotics and artificial intelligence in support of industry, for instance. So the vision is that is very holistic, that information technology goes beyond IoT and becomes pervasive. So we can speak not only of Internet of Things, but Internet of Vehicles, Internet of Energy, let's say Internet of everything. So the challenge, in my opinion, is that is the ability to fully exploit information and the infrastructures that are needed to basically collect and deliver basically information. So that we do what at the end? We boost economy and hopefully we spread welfare. So the future is more work, in my opinion.
So that's absolutely good news, as you say, Andrea. But in general, people are aware about what will happen with my job. Will they have to change the job? Maybe there will be new jobs coming. So I know this is a hard question about what are the jobs that could IoT enable in the future, and also what are the jobs that maybe IoT will make unusable or maybe with little value. So what do you think about what are the new jobs that maybe IoT will enable, and also which jobs may have little value based on the power of IoT? What do you think about that?
I think that, Jorge, this is a very relevant question, and also is a very hard question, because it's very difficult to foresee the future given the speed of that technology is basically, how can I say, having now, because it evolves so quickly. You said whether it will destroy jobs, and my opinion is not at all. I think that IoT, and more in general artificial intelligence, because this fear is very often associated to robotics and artificial intelligence, and I don't think so. I have a totally different opinion, very positive, because this technology, from IoT to AI to robotics, will increase basically the quality of our life, will release us for certain tasks, and will allow us to concentrate on others that will become more relevant to keep basically going. So there will be more job opportunities. The only thing is that we will assist to a shift of specializations, which again, at the beginning, at this moment, is not easy to foresee. So as I said, heavy tasks will be assigned to robots, and more in general to computing machines, and we will have more space to exercise our creativity. This is my opinion. And there will be space, by the way, for what I call, if in English is the right word, craftsmen. In Italian, we say artigiani, and which will find space to exercise their talent using new tools, new technologies. So we have not to think about this as something that can destroy traditional jobs and create jobs only for super duper educated rocket scientists. This is totally wrong. If I can spend a little bit more time on this, because on this topic, I like to elaborate more, Jorge, if you allow me.
Sure. This is a very interesting topic. So I'm very pleased you can also expand your opinion and share it.
Thanks a lot, Jorge. I believe, let's look at what happened to internet. Internet basically not only enabled easy access to information, but essentially it provided an infrastructure to create new business that, I don't know, 30 years ago, nobody knew, which, for instance, three classic and simple examples: e-commerce, e-marketing, and also e-learning. And the thing is that you might think that this subtracts jobs to somebody, but this is not true, because the internet is only, let's say, the infrastructure, but you still need to create content, and we need either to produce, to make products to be sold in e-stores, or, for instance, we need to create videos. So we need content creation, and this cannot be done by a single person. It has to be done by many persons, and all of them have to contribute and bring their creativity. So on one side, I would say that is technology and the infrastructure, which needs to be built, designed, built, deployed, and maintained. And there is space for professionals in this domain, in purely technology oriented jobs, I would say. One other thing, as I said, are services, and which can be conveyed through this infrastructure. And then we need everybody to contribute: artists, craftsmen, normal people, assuming that normal is the appropriate word or adjective, I mean, persons like me and you that maybe can contribute in things that are not even related to our basically current profession. So all of us will be part of this process, I think, and it will come, and we will be prosumers, users and consumers of products and services. This terminology is a terminology that currently is used in the domain of smart energy grids, where the introduction of renewables allow us not only to get energy from the utility, but also to produce energy and sell it, if you wish. So we have an active participation. So my opinion or my view is that in the future, through these technologies, starting from IoT, we will have a much more active role, and everybody will have a much more active, basically, role. One only thing to finish on this, Jorge, is the fact that the resources, Jorge, are you still connected? I'm not sure. Maybe I stop it here.
Yeah, sorry, the Zoom closed, but yes, sorry, I lost. You were mentioning this concept of prosumers. You mentioned, yes. I think you used that word. So maybe you can retake and what do you mean by prosumers? Maybe you, yeah.
Prosumers means, is a terminology that we have inherited from the energy sector, where renewable energy generation has been introduced. Think to the photovoltaic panel that you can have at your home. So now you become a user of energy, but also a consumer of energy, if you wish, and also a producer of basically energy. And therefore you can enter into these transactive, and we say, models where basically the distinction between who sells and who buys becomes very thin. And now, if these new technologies, in my opinion, provide a vehicle to render us prosumers. You know, so the energy sector is the first example. Who knows what will basically happen in the future? So one thing, nevertheless, that has to be also realized is that the resources are limited on our planet, and therefore, whatever we do, we have to be aware of this, and we have to realize something that at the end is in the domain of circular economy. So we cannot just keep producing. We have to produce in an environmental friendly way, I would say. So again, positively, I think that all these technologies will allow us to do so. And also will, to go back to what I said before, will give us the time to concentrate in the progress of technology. To do what at the end? I don't want to, make statements and maybe can be included in the title of a movie or something like this. But we need to concentrate on space exploration. I'm going very, very far now. Looking very forward-looking. This planet has a certain limited time, and we have to work. You understand what I'm saying? We have to work.
We are reaching the channel limit. You mean we are reaching the channel limit, something like that?
Exactly. So we have to. So if we think positively, the progress of technology should not scare us. It's an opportunity to do more and to use technology for us and find another home. Maybe keeping this one as a second home for our vacation time. Who knows? Something like this. So don't be afraid of artificial intelligence and robotics. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Yes, that's a very interesting point, and I thank you for sharing with us. And just to try to conclude, and I will try to ask you two questions that are very, very related, and are also very related to one of the objectives, or the main objective of the project you are coordinating, is about we need to identify what are the skills that people need to acquire in order to get an IoT job in any of the fields. You mentioned that IoT will have this idea of you mentioned prosumer. I also think how people will need to interact with, like you said, as people used to interact with the internet, now they will need to interact with objects, with dashboards, with a lot of data, try to also understand, take decisions, and so on. So there is a big challenge on trying to maybe as professors, as we work in the academy, to try to foresee what are the skills and also have a lot of interaction with the industry in order to understand what are these skills. And the other question is, once we identify these skills, how can we help to develop? And what's the role that universities have in IoT? So this is another hard question, but let's try to share some thoughts about it.
Absolutely. Let's try also to be concise and, as you said, relevant questions, very important. But we can start concisely answering them by saying that in terms of skills, I would say this, that I would start from the system level point of view. So we require persons that are able to conceive applications and services and understand technologies that can support such applications, and also be able to make techno-economic evaluations. It's very important. And we have also to give this sensitivity to our graduates, I would say. So I think that the skills here, in my opinion, are in the domain of thinking at system level. So for me, this is a relevant skill. And if I have to answer more concretely your question, we need to distinguish a little bit the IoT domains. If we are in the technology side, as the two of us basically are, we are engineers, I would say that we need to know about sensors, about data networks, about computing, about data presentation, machine-human interfaces. And then you can specialize in hardware aspects or in software-related, basically, aspects. So you can become a skilled person in sensor technology, in pure communication technology, into electronics, embedded systems, signal and data processing, and the new domain of machine learning. And then you can go also into artificial intelligence, which has also a lot to do with reasoning, which is much more than machine learning, I would say. If we then go to the service side, not the pure technology side, because IoT has this double facet, I would say, okay, it's not only technology. Actually, it's not technology, it should be seamless technology, you know. So on the service side, I would say that we need persons that are able to look at needs, invent services, as I already said, understand complex systems. It's not only a point-to-point thing, it becomes a system of systems thing, I would say. They should know about management, operations, optimization, create information content, and I already elaborated a little bit on this. And also there is another aspect which is related to policies and regulations, and also ethical aspects. And I'm an engineer, I'm not able to work in the domain, but there is space for people working also in the domain. So this is what I think are the required skills. And then you said, if I understood correctly, anticipating probably a next question is how we can develop these skills, right? Olga, this was your
yes. And in particular, what's the role that maybe universities will have in IoT in developing or helping to develop these skills? What do you think are our role? Is it a main role or not?
This is very much discussed because we have new players coming into the educational field. So we belong to the conservative, let's say, role, or let's say the not conservative, would say the formal education, basically, side of this. We are both professors, and we believe on this, and I think that formal education is needed and still has a role. At high education level, at university level, the curricula in electrical engineering, information engineering, telecommunication engineering, not to say computer science, are very relevant, and probably they need also some modernization, because the speed of technology to enter our life is now so high that sometimes we have difficulty in updating our classes, our lectures, because products come into the market before we develop the theory in some sense. So it's a much more distributed way of creating knowledge, knowledge and so on. Indeed, not only university matters, but all study cycles matter. And I believe that the IoT subject, or more in general, information technology subject, is more appropriate, should be part of our study from the beginning at different levels, with different difficulties. But it should be, something very natural, as today we study grammar in our mother tongue. That is part of any basic, education program. We should study also information technology, or some aspects of that. Yes. One thing is also, since I said that, the speed of entrance of technology is very, very high, and nowadays we are assisting at, big companies, but also startups, having a lot of creativity, and there is a lot to say. So we have really to work together. So we need to connect better between schools, not to say universities, basically in industry, and give more opportunities to students to do practical training and internships. This is, in my opinion, very, very important. In general, I would say that IoT alphabetization is the key point, you know, and try to explain that this is not something for only a niche group of people, for rocket scientists. No, this is something for everybody, as I tried to elaborate basically before. And Jorge, you mentioned the NEON project, this Erasmus project that sees some universities from Uruguay and Argentina and some companies there involved together with us in Klagenfurt and another university in Madrid. Is about this, is about creating a network of competence, right? So try to contribute a little bit into this IoT alphabetization, as I call it, you know, and trying also to build a network that hopefully will go beyond the duration of the project. So it's not a spot endeavor, but is hopefully will serve as a contact point for mostly for you guys in Argentina and Uruguay. So let's hope that it works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks a lot of Andrea for this conversation, for sharing your thoughts, very interesting points. So, well, we hope we continue our discussions in the next years in the project. So thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Jorge. Bye-bye.